week alive, man.
Black to the Basics, a.k.a. the People's Podcast. I am your host and 1/3, Mr. J. Weeks, a.k.a. 52 the Balls.
Yes,
Here
sir.
with my man.
Man, B. Stokes, also known as Brother Knowledge, checking in.
What's good? Who else we got?
It's your boy Jared, man. VA all day. And from the previous video, I got hops.
Shout out to him, man.
Let's get it.
We back, man.
Yeah, man.
We got a little new setup here, man.
I'm loving it, man.
Got a little, as you said, a little feng shui going on, man. We switched it up. Got the chairs today, man. We want to keep growing, man.
I love it, man.
Switched it up, man. More relaxed. So how y'all feeling today, man?
Blessed, bro. Every time we wake up, man, just thankful. Got to be.
Absolutely, man.
Grateful for the small things. What about you, Herb?
I'm feeling good, man. You know what I'm saying? My legs are finally on the floor. You know what I'm saying?
Short people.
Shout out to short people, man.
Right, man. So I'm good. I'm comfortable, man. So we rock.
Man, today is good. Man, every day is good when you can wake up. But, man, today is amazing. You know, last week we were talking about John P. Key, Hezekiah. I got to check out that. Well, I got to check out a portion. It was like, you know how church really be long? Like, it was probably
really that long? I didn't even watch it.
So I watched the first half, and then, you know, they was like, all right, it's over. I think they did like, they restarted like 2 times. So I think it was like 3 episodes.
Man.
But, you know, it was closer towards the time when the Last Dance documentary was on. So, but the first joint, man, it was dope. Hezekiah was playing this joint, but, man, John P was killing him.
Yeah.
He was killing him.
The
But
hits.
then I liked it because it showed like a lot of songs you didn't realize, or old joints that kind of took you back to like, you know, that down south church joint. So it was dope, man. The battle was dope, and you can really tell the respect that they had for one another.
Gotcha.
So it was super dope, man. So I definitely enjoyed that.
No, I saw some too. You know me, I'm late on the social media whole verse thing. So I don't know if this was confirmed or not, but I saw where I think it's Erykah Badu.
Yes,
and
sir.
Jill Scott.
We got to get them a formal. We can't just say the bag lady herself,
Mama
Miss
Badu.
Erykah Badu. And facing off with Miss Jillscott, Jill
Yes,
Scott,
yes,
Jilly
sir.
from Philly. Come on, man.
My apologies.
Put some respect on their name.
My apologies.
Put some respect on it.
But yeah, I don't know if that's confirmed.
No, it is confirmed. So it is going to be next Saturday. What is that? The 9th. It's going to be the 9th at 7 p.m.
Okay.
It's going to be Erykah Badu and Jill Scott. Jilly from Philly versus.
Now I also saw where they had Puff and Dr. Dre.
Well,
Is that confirmed?
It's not confirmed.
That's what I'm saying. I don't
They
know.
they in the works. So that's we gonna see.
Diddy gonna kill him.
That's probably the first verses I'll watch.
Man, you need to be watching Erykah Badu and Jill Scott.
And I'm sure my wife will have it playing in the background.
You're married.
Have some sage burning.
Oh,
He ready to do it?
Yeah, she probably listening to it. I'll probably be on the game or something.
I'm gonna get me some suspenders, you know, a little bow tie. I'm getting ready.
You wear them velvet shoes you
I
have
am.
on my way?
No, not this velvet. Crushed blue.
Crushed,
velvet.
okay.
Ooh.
Bro, you know, you want to hear, bro. Listen, bro, listen. When I got married, it was about 98 degrees outside, bro. We had outdoor. It was very hot.
Okay.
But my man here was breezy, dog. Like his whole outfit on. Like
I had the linen suit.
Look,
Crispy and clean.
Listen, here's the thing. He's like David Copperfield. Cause listen, he was standing still, right? But his pants and jacket were just moving. There was no breeze.
This dude was on a whole new level.
Listen, I've never seen nothing like that in my life, cuz. You know what I'm
Dog,
saying?
you know what everybody knows when you go to a wedding, you gotta represent.
Yeah.
I told him I was ready. Like, dog, it's your wedding. This is special.
But he had the linen suit
He
on.
was sharp though.
With the crushed blue belt.
Sharp.
Crushed.
I just want to know how his pants and jacket was swaying, and there was no wind, though.
But this is my thing. I need footage.
Oh yeah, we
I can hear the story, but I got to see footage.
there you go, Jonathan. But nah, man, Jilly from Philly, Erykah Badu.
Yeah.
That one I feel like is one that's not really. There's no losers in that. Like nobody loses. That is.
So this shouldn't be like this is just for the people. Like,
It's. I mean, because I look like it's gonna be for the people because these are some of the most top singers, the most artistic people there is.
It's on the level of that Teddy Riley and Babyface.
Yes,
man.
definitely.
When it comes to that neo soul vibe.
Now the first one or the second?
Both of them. Look, all of them. Look,
both of them. But nah, man, it was dope. Also this week, man, I got to re-watch Hoop Dreams.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a favorite of yours.
Yeah,
And I remember watching it. I guess when I was younger a little bit, but man, watching that documentary. If you haven't seen it, if you haven't
Go check
saw
it out.
make sure you check it out. Hoop
Please.
Dreams,
So check it
dope
out.
documentary. Takes place from like in the early 90s.
No,
it was the 80s.
It was the 80s.
I mean, as far as like it dropped.
Yeah, it dropped in the 90s, but it was like in the early
80s when it actually happened. But definitely dope, man. And of course, with quarantine going on and everything, man, it's been time to kind of watch everything. Man.
Pull out your fire sticks, people. And get to work.
But yeah, man, I'm excited that we're here today.
Yes,
we got the new setup, man. So we're going to have some fun today, man.
We will.
But y'all already know we can't start no show without first educating the people. First, we got to look for that to my man, Brother Knowledge.
Brother Knowledge, let's go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Knowledge report,
man. Hey, man, we about to jump right into it, man.
What you got today, man?
Today, we're going to talk about Brother Dr. Solomon Carter Fuller. Dr. Solomon Carter Fuller, was a pioneering African-American psychiatrist who made significant contributions to the study of Alzheimer's disease. He was born in Liberia, the son of a previously enslaved African who had purchased his freedom and immigrated there. He graduated from Boston University School of Medicine, which was an institution that allowed both African-American and women at the time.
That's dope.
So that's a game changer. So after he graduated from there, he spent the majority of his career practicing at Westboro State Mental Hospital in Westboro, Massachusetts.
Okay.
While there, he performed his groundbreaking research on the physical changes to the brains of Alzheimer's patients. Dr. Fuller was one of the first known black psychiatrists who also worked alongside Dr. A. Louis Alzheimer, who first discovered the traits of Alzheimer's disease in 1901.
So that's how it became.
That's how it became Alzheimer's disease. So he's one of the first known black psychiatrists.
That's dope, man.
So, Dr. Solomon Carter Fuller, we thank you.
Thank you
for your contributions to mental health, to psychiatry, and everything there. Thank you, brother.
Definitely something that's prevalent right now.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Have you, speaking about Alzheimer's and dementia, have you actually been around someone that suffered from the disease? It's a pretty.
It's serious, man.
Yeah, serious.
You know, black people call it Alzheimer's, though.
Yeah.
But no, it's when you see someone that's experiencing that, it's almost like you don't believe it. Initially, when you first see it, when you tell them like, hey, they can't remember certain things or different things like that. So it's definitely something serious, though.
Yeah.
When you experience something like that. But shout out to that man for even
having
somebody to even diagnose that and be able to have a good
yes
to be able to do that. That's super dope, man.
Most definitely.
Yeah, and y'all know we always keep our ear to the street. And
Gotta
for
have
that, we gotta let my man Jay Earth for that.
It's been a busy week.
Word on the street.
Yeah.
4, 3, 2.
So what we got today? Shout out to this young brother, Alexis Loverez. Hopefully I'm not mispronouncing your name. 16-year-old kid from New York City who has been homeschooling like most students right now, but has gone viral because he's tutoring thousands of young students on TikTok.
Wow.
Right. Okay.
Teaching on TikTok now?
We know where they at.
Teaching on TikTok. So being a math whiz with a 4.0 average at Harlem Prep High School, Alexis
said 4.0?
4.0. Alexis was urged by his friends to post his tips on algebra, geometry, and chemistry on the popular video sharing platform TikTok. All right. So since he started doing that, he was immediately hailed as the TikTok tutor. He has around 650,000 followers and 5.4 million likes on TikTok.
Right.
Wow. His followers are mostly students from the United States, Canada, Australia, the Philippines, Singapore, and other countries who wanted to learn while quarantining in home. So he's taking the social media platform and using it to his advantage as far as helping other people. So he's trying to get in touch with Google to work up a partnership so he can able to tutor students around the globe.
What's his name again?
His name is Alexis Loverez.
Loverez, thank you, sir.
Shout out to that
Shout out, man. Doing some good out here, man.
Man, my baby love TikTok.
Oh yeah. I just want to ask y'all.
TikTok, man, I'm so TikToked out. Don't rush.
She ain't get you to do that. She ain't get you to do the Tootsie Slide.
Man, listen, I ain't gonna lie, man. Last night I had a basketball. I was trying to practice the whole basketball one, but not really the real dance. I was like, man, this not for me, man. This not for me.
So my sister-in-law is doing this thing called the TikTok World Tour. So I think she's a teacher in the school district, right?
Okay.
So she just started doing TikTok a couple weeks ago when they were home. So they drive by the house. And once they go by each of the family member's house, and she'll pick out a TikTok video. They do it, and I think today we're scheduled for another TikTok.
Hey man, that's cool.
So yeah, I've never used it, but I think seeing people like the stuff that's on there is pretty funny.
We all know that Drake is your favorite rapper.
No,
so I'm sure you're gonna do the Tootsie Slide. Shout out to Parker because I know she's gonna get you right on the Tootsie Slide.
Listen, stop believing this man, dog.
So look. Before he hit his social media, he did, they had the key.
Yeah.
Herb had the first video. It was like Shiggy and Herb.
Listen, I will give anybody $1,000 if you can find any footage of me doing
it over your game.
Negative, sir.
You know that's your favorite rapper, man.
No, sir. Jay, anybody knows me, Jay, and you know who my other favorite rapper is, but we're not big. You know what I'm saying? But Jay, Jay's my guy, man.
Nah, man, but this is definitely dope with everything going on with social media. They're doing, people doing meetings on Zoom.
Yes.
One of the people I follow online, I've seen they doing like a karaoke type joint on Zoom. I'm like, dang, people have been so creative.
My uncle and his friends, they just did a martini hour, happy hour.
Wow.
They just posted on Facebook, on Zoom. So it's like 16 of them, right? Yeah. All of them got their glasses up. Like it's like they basically did a happy hour, but
that's
from
dope.
The crib, man. So shout out to Uncle Gary and all them doing that, man. So I thought it was pretty dope.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy.
People get creative.
World. But so my mom is an educator, man, and the one thing about it, man, parents, one thing about having your students on Zoom, please pay attention. People are logging in, hacking in. My mom, her class got hacked. And so they were sitting there putting out personal information about my mom, the teacher, like addresses and card numbers and different things. And you have to just pay attention. So parents, if your child is on Zoom, just don't sit them there. Yeah. Pay attention, please.
Also, too, to go with that, man, listen. If you are a teacher, educator, anybody, go from the daycare center, school district, listen. I take my hats off to you. I had the utmost respect for y'all before, but trust me, listen, all people in education, you guys need a raise.
Definitely.
Raise. Let me tell you.
Big bonus.
I love having my kids at home, man.
Yeah,
when
send it to the principal.
Yeah, listen, I got to be the teacher, the principal, the PE teacher,
the nurse.
Listen, y'all are special people. We appreciate you here on Black to the Basics because
yes.
Man,
shout out to all the people.
Get them a raise.
All the educators, baby.
Look, get them a raise, man. I catch myself. If Johnny had 4 apples,
take away 2.
You know how to do it, man. You be getting frustrated, man. Nah, man. This whole time is altered everything and shifted.
Yes.
But it's also good that we do get that time, a little bit more time with our little people, our kids to enjoy that time, but really understand the struggle of what teachers have to go through on a regular basis. And they got, more 10, 15 students for it.
If that.
Right. And we doing one, you know what I'm saying? Or 2 or 3, whatever.
Yeah,
so just imagine what they go through.
Now you know why your child is not. So listen, when the teachers call you and say, hey, such and such is not paying attention in school, you know why.
They did that.
They doing that? Yeah. Hey, look, what he say? Whatever they say he did, he did.
He did that. Right. Yeah, man. So it's great to see, the positive side of everything that's going on, man. And along with that, today we wanted to have some real conversations. Today we want to touch on mental health, which is something that we don't really talk about a lot. But I feel like in this time, with everything going on and everything being altered and changing, it's the perfect opportunity to talk about it. So, today we're going to call today's episode, mental health awareness.
That's perfect because, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So,
you learn something new.
It fits right in.
Starting it off right.
Every month is something different, man. So we hit it
always.
Right in the head.
So when it comes to mental health, just defining what mental health is, I have a quick little definition. So mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we think, feel, act, and it also determines how we handle stress, relate to others, and make choices. Mental health is important at every stage of life, from childhood and adolescence through adulthood. Over the course of your life, if you experience mental health problems, your thinking, your mood, and behavior could be affected. Many factors contribute to mental health problems, which include biological factors such as genes or brain chemistry, life experiences such as trauma and abuse. I think we all kind of fit into that category, or even family history or of mental health problems. Things that's being passed down for different generations for. So when you think about that now, it's definitely it's kind of eye opening now.
Yes.
You know, currently in the state of what's going on in America and throughout the world. You know, so what are like some of your initial thoughts when you just think about mental health?
Your self care, like what is your mind state in? You know what I'm saying? Like where you are in that point of life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Are you in a good space or in a bad space? So that's what I think when you talk about mental health.
All right. So what about you, Stokes?
Man, I think it's overall just your health period, because your mental controls everything with your body.
Right.
And that's something I didn't understand until I got a little bit older.
Right.
Truly.
Yeah, and it's definitely, for me, it's something that it's rarely talked about, particularly in the African American community. And if you think about it, if you're mental, emotional, physical, even spiritual, it's not good, man. Everything is thrown off.
It's all off.
You can say, hey, I'm good today, man. I'm straight, and try to psych yourself into
But
believing
if it's not right,
it just
not right,
throws
it's not right.
everything off. And sometimes we don't realize the factors of just the mental side of everything, how that can play a factor in everything else. And with that, do you feel that mental health or even mental health awareness, do you think it's important? Is it not important? Or?
It's beyond important. I mean, there's so many people that are going through things within their own self that don't know how to truly diagnose it, don't know how to express what they feel, don't know how to share their emotions, because you just said it. Mental goes with emotional. Emotional goes with spiritual. Spiritual goes all around together with the physical. All of it is intertwined, man. So it's more than important that you understand mental health.
What about you, Eric?
I think it's important, man. The thing, because we don't talk about it enough. You know, the first thing people say is like, "Hey, well, that person is crazy," or "Something wrong with him,"
which is very dismissive.
Right. It is very dismissive.
But you know, in our community, we all have that family member or a cousin or aunt, you know, that they you don't go in their room, you know Uncle John was crazy. Don't go in there mess with him.
But think about the people that, you know, there's something that was really wrong with them, and because they were afraid to talk about it, you know, they've taken another route. You know what I mean? So,
because if you're not at a point where you can express what you're saying, or even be able to speak about it without being labeled, "Oh, that person is crazy." I think it's easier to just put that label. It forces you to not really think about anything. You can easily say, "Oh, well, that person is this." So they're crazy. So don't worry about them. So they're going, and it makes them you're a little bit off. You know, so then people don't want to deal with you because oh, you know, Stokes, he crazy.
He awkward.
There's something wrong with that guy.
Yeah, there you go.
So do you feel like that's something that we just do it just because? Is it in our nature? Like,
I think for Black people, it's just like going to the doctor.
Right.
You know, we have a hard time going to the doctor. You know why? Because sometimes you don't want to face the reality of something that could be, you know, potentially wrong. You know what I'm saying? So you are addressing the situation like maybe there is something wrong with this person, or maybe there may be something wrong with me. I don't want nobody to think of me differently or judge me. So I'm gonna keep it to myself and bottle it in. You know what I mean? Or we don't necessarily have the resources to go. What we do, we just don't look for the resource to go get help.
So you brought it up. So why don't we as Black people, why don't we talk about it? Why is it just kind of swept under the rug, taboo? Like, why?
It's like a pride thing, man. I don't, you know, like I said, people don't want to give that perception there's something wrong with me. Or there's something wrong with that person. It's just like, oh, you know, whatever. I'll just sweep it under the rug, or I'll be good. But in all reality, you're doing more damage to yourself keeping it in versus getting it out. So,
you said a big word that I stand on: perception. For so long, man, what others perceive of us is our own perception of ourselves. And if you don't want to sit down and address something because you believe that someone's perception of you will change, you're going to then suffer in silence.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the issue with mental health right now that so many people go through. They're suffering in silence because they don't want to reach out. But you have to share. You have to go see your doctor. It goes hand in hand. When you go to your doctor, how do you feel? That's the question they're going to ask you.
Or they give you that scale.
They give you that scale, right?
What would you rate yourself?
Rate yourself. But you have to share, right? And say, hey, doc, I don't feel well.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, what's going on? And they start to peel that onion back.
Yeah.
But many people are not reaching out and sharing that.
Because they don't want those labels, man. They don't want to be labeled as crazy.
And it's it's not cool. It's something that we don't talk about. And I think if you look back at the history of things, we are resilient people. We push through anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you take as something as traumatic as slavery, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were able to overcome that in some aspect.
Yes.
We were able to survive to be able to speak to that. When you think about that aspect, people are like, oh man, we can survive anything. Right. This is nothing. We're always kind of taught to kind of just tough it out.
Right.
Just go through
Shake
it, man.
it out, baby.
You're going to be straight. You'll be all right, man. Don't even worry about it, man. And you think about that, you're like, all right, well, I got to be this way.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about, and this may be a little bit different for you, but I'm just speaking from my own personal experiences. If you dated a person, or say a woman, in my case, that has a kid, she's single, don't got no dude, but you date and she got kids, she don't really got the time to give you her all.
Right.
Because her life does not stop.
You
know what I'm saying? So she don't have time to be really, hey, what you doing now? Hey, did you post my picture on Facebook? Did you put me on IG?
Yes.
She don't really have time to be checking on you because her priorities are different. Mm-hmm. So it's the same thing. We as black people, I feel like we don't really have that luxury to kind of sit back and much and kind of not worry about things. I got to deal with this. Like life happens, So every day we're not afforded that luxury.
Right.
That some other cultures and groups of people are. So you think about it from that aspect, that it's like, dang, it's something that we really don't have time to really go over. And then when you don't see that for a long periods of time, with people, your parents didn't talk about it,
exactly,
your grandparents didn't talk about it. So that's something we don't talk about.
But that's something I was just about to step into, man. When you said it's generational, right?
Yeah.
So your grandparents might not have went to go see a doctor, might have went to go see a mental health, doctor, and would have been able to say, okay, I have anxiety, I have social anxiety, I have different things. When I get into a crowd, I feel a certain type of way.
Right.
I have schizophrenia. Whatever. There's so many different things to think about. Now, when that gets something that you just dismiss, your parents then are taking in those type of things.
Right.
But you don't even know if it's biological. You don't know if it's just a trait that they have, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so then it just goes generational. Mm-hmm. You have to truly address it. And even as black men, I think that one of the things that we don't do enough is share. Mm-hmm. We don't share our emotions. We don't share our feelings. We don't share any of that.
You know why though? Because when men do that, we're viewed as being weak or being vulnerable. And at the end of the day, any man like, well, I always want to be, strong, the tough guy. But at the end of the day,
you got to be the hero. You can't be out here weak.
But you're killing yourself on the inside because you're putting on quote unquote front like everything is okay. Oh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get through it. And you get down on the inside, man. I think that's the hardest thing for us as men to let go. Like, hey, there's something wrong. I need help. You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot to get to that point. It's not easy, but it takes a lot to get to that point, man.
And things become a habit because, like you said, if generationally you didn't see anybody do that, you do the same thing. Well, my mom, I don't know about y'all, had this house rule like our business in the house.
Oh, stay in the house.
So like we ain't talking about you going to school. Hey, what we do at home, this is our business. And my mom didn't play that that was just what it was. So when you think about it from that aspect, it's like, well, wow, I didn't see something like that. So going out to talk to someone may be a little foreign to you,
right?
Yeah. Until you get someone to give you that, you straight.
Come on in,
you good, man. Everything's straight with you. You're like, okay, so it is okay for me to go ahead and have this conversation. Now, do you talk about when it comes to black people and mental health?
Right.
Do you feel like we're at a disadvantage?
I do, and I'm gonna give you some of the 5 factors that affect mental health in the African American communities. All right, so here we go. Number 1, racism. We all know
off top,
but you know what I'm saying.
Something you can't get away from.
We can't get away from. It's still what man say? It's still alive. They just be concealing it. You know what I mean? It's still available.
Transform to something.
You know what I'm saying? Religious beliefs.
Yes.
Okay. Number 3, poverty. Number 4, violence. Number 5, lack of provider cultural competency. Being able to understand what is actually the problem. You know what I mean?
And that was one of the bigger things. Is that aspect. If you don't understand the culture, it makes it very hard for you to understand
what's going on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. But I mean, all those things play a factor into why us as African Americans are at a disadvantage because, for one, all those scenarios is what we deal with as Black people every single day, from violence to poverty, everything. Like all those things, your environment and affects how you are in your mental state. So if all you see growing up is abuse or violence or stuff like that, that's what you think is the norm. So if you are having crazy,
trauma,
if you are having those thoughts of like, this is all you know, so you're gonna think that you're fine, but in all reality, you're not.
But you just said something urgent, and out of all of those 5 points, they all lean on trauma, experiences that affect us in such a negative way.
Yes.
So you look at that, and it could be positive as well, but when it comes to like those type of things, but you look at it as negative experience. Say, okay, racism. You have a racial encounter with someone that does not look like you and it goes bad. Your mindset now going forward towards that type of person will be negative.
Correct.
Your mental now is thrown off. Anytime you're around, speaking to, whatever. Then when you look at, financially, you may not have the resources to be able to say, I can't go to get help.
You automatically count yourself.
You already count yourself
out. Right.
It's trauma, man, beyond, But also, the biggest piece of trauma that I think about, having the competency, people understanding the culture. If you were to go to your family and say, hey, I have anxiety, man, ain't nothing wrong with you. Shake it off.
Yep.
You now are traumatized because you don't want to go back to your parents or don't want to go back to your friends or don't want to go back to those people that you say are close to you. Because they don't even want to take time to know. They don't get it.
And then you, culturally, when you say come from a competency level, if you're going to a doctor, don't really understand culture. A lot of factors that I've also seen is that you've been misdiagnosed.
Correct.
Yes. So you going for one thing and it's completely different. Yes. You're like, what? I was coming here because my nose is running. Now you talking about I got influenza? Like, how do we? It's like it just makes you not trust going to what you're saying. And if you think about things like the Tuskegee experiment,
oh man,
how can you go back to trust where someone is? People are supposed to be reliable sources, be able to give you this information, and you thinking it's one thing, it's clearly that. It's going to alter everything. So your people's going to think of that, your grandparents, and it's going to pass down.
Generation.
Don't get that shot. You better not get that flu shot. And I know for me, I always think about that with anything. What you about to give me? No, I'm good, straight.
Right.
Straight. So you go away from things that when you might need to go seek that help and talk to somebody, you automatically shine away from that.
Right.
So we talked about that. And also I look at when it comes to disadvantages, right? Think about, and I know this is something that's very serious, and so we don't want to make it light of the situation. But things like the school shootings and different things like that. When you are a person of color, you don't have the option to, if you're dealing with some mental issue, that is never the case if a crime is in place.
Right.
Other cultures, like white people, can shoot up a school, blow up a building, and the first thing that comes out in the news, this person suffers from mental illness. Yeah. You can be someone that has known issues. You can be labeled as autistic and be authentically autistic and have issues, and you still, the first thing they're going to show is they're going to show the one time that you stole something and you got arrested for it.
Right.
Never had no issues before. They don't care about the degrees you got at the colleges. You don't get the same luxury where someone can shoot up something or kill someone and get walked in to a space.
I will give you another example. So, we talked about it before, but like the protests, like in Michigan. I don't know if you guys saw that. the photos
with them opening,
well,
protesting about opening up.
But here's the thing: so you had a bunch of white males with the AR-15s, guns, AKs, and standing in front of the police. Spitting and yelling, and nothing's been done about it. Right? We can't go out and sit on the corner, and just try to make people, be positive. Without,
and we go out and on the street right now. Now it's us three. We automatically like,
people are then, because keep in mind, right? Kids can't even go outside and play with a fake gun in their yard and not get laid down.
Yeah.
And so when you look at the people up in Michigan, so let me ask this question to you fellas: do you think that the people, when they have the guns, do you think that a mental eval should be done before we get a gun given out?
I do.
Definitely.
I definitely do, because not everybody should have a gun.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes for this is not just particularly just one race. I mean, just anybody
as a whole.
As a whole, because that takes another mental state to be able to handle a firearm, because you just don't want somebody like, oh, I'm having a bad day, I'm gonna go to work and I'm gonna shoot everybody in my building, which that happens.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I do think, you would definitely should.
I agree, man. And for me, growing up in DC, VA, when I moved to the South, I'm like, oh, everybody has a gun. Like that's like keys, wallet, gun.
Yeah.
It's like how you put on socks. And I didn't understand that, because where I come from, you see a gun, it's something about to go down. It wasn't just you say it for play, and you got people here showing, hey man, let me show you my gun. I'm like, whoa, like when I see a gun, something happens after that.
Yeah.
So it was culturally, it was different for me. And when you think about how easy it is to obtain, you can literally are you crazy? No. Have you ever been arrested? No. Okay, wait 5 weeks, we're gonna send you a mail. I'm like anybody can do that. So if you think about that, if you are suffering from some type of mental disorder, you have any issues, there should be some type of evaluation.
Man, it's crazy because you think about the people that do carry the guns in these situations.
Right.
I remember a few years ago they had a rally on Stone Mountain.
Oh yeah.
And it was so many people that were armed.
Right.
And so a guy that I went to college with, he had all his paperwork and everything, and he actually has a shout out to Rich, but he had he's one of the few black people to be armed and strapped and had an AK. Right. Everybody else had an AK and all of that.
Right.
And he was standing up to these other white men that were lined up with Confederate flags and all. And I just think about that moment. If one of those people would have had a bad day or would have been off their rocker,
it could have been completely different.
But this black man is looked at as a thug, because when we look at the newspapers and different things, they say, they were protesting.
But if it was us, we would be thugs.
We would be thugs, and he was considered a thug, and they wrote in different newspapers around the metro Atlanta area that he was a thug, doing different things. He didn't have paperwork, and he went viral for this. Mm-hmm. But I just think about it, man. Like, if one of those men would have been thrown off that day, his life would have been taken. Other lives would have been taken.
A lot of lives could have been lost that day.
But it's so crazy, man, just to say that mental health is key. And everybody's walking with these guns. You never know what's going on. It's the South, baby.
Yeah.
Everybody got something.
That's like I said, it's just like getting dressed. I didn't understand that. It's like keys, wallet, gun. Like, that's just normal. And when you think from that aspect, is that people that may, like I said, legit suffer from some type of thing. Because I feel like when you have an evaluation, it makes you, it should be evaluation as well as training. Because then you're going to, respect it. Mm-hmm. You're going to treat it a certain way. Mm-hmm. You're not just going to be out here flashing it. Hey, dog, you want to see my gun? Like, no, dog, I just came to say, I don't want to see your gun. You know?
Crazy.
So if you had that appreciation and understand of what this tool can actually do, because, people always, guns don't kill people, whatever. At the end of the day, if you don't respect the power that it has and what it can do and understand how it can alter everything, then you gonna be out here wilding, playing with it, play, out there, dry fire and all stuff like that.
And it goes back to what you were talking about, as far as school shootings, when, going back with the mental health aspect, right? So the difference between, to me, like for us in the African American community, when we're dealing with stuff, because we don't talk about it as much, we internalize it. So we don't necessarily look to hurt others when we're dealing with stuff, because there's studies that show that Black Americans commit suicide at a much higher rate, because
which we've always thought that it was like, oh, that's all right, we don't do that.
Yeah.
But other cultures, as far like I said, it's not a black and white thing. But when they are dealing with stress and stuff like that, they take it out overtly on others. You know what I mean? So it's kind of it goes like I said, it goes back to the mental health aspect. Like how do you internalize or talk about your situations? And I just had a friend of mine just recently lost his cousin to suicide. He's 19 years old, I believe, 18 or 19 years old, because he felt like one, there was no other alternative. That it should never get to that point. And people need to pay attention to our youth, because the youth right now are the ones that are literally killing themselves at a much higher rate.
They're suffering
due to bullying, not traumas like you talked about, and just not having an outlet. So where do we step in and say, hey, this is a problem amongst our people.
Right.
Let's try to do something.
I mean, we have a responsibility, and I can speak from that firsthand, because those who may or may not know me know that I dealt with a lot of anger growing up.
Gotcha.
From not having a father. I was angry at the world because of the aspect of not having a father, and seeing like my sisters, which are younger than me, they did have a father.
Gotcha.
So anybody who had a dad, I had an issue with. I would have disliked you growing up. I definitely dislike you. You got two dads.
We'd have boxed.
Right. We would have been like cool. We'd have fought every day.
Right.
So just seeing me think about me as a youngster, internalizing all that anger.
Right.
If I were to talk to somebody, it could have altered a lot of things.
Right.
But I'm fortunate enough for myself that I was able to find acting. Acting allowed me to be different, and all the frustration, anger, pain I had, I could put it to my art. And so that's why you see I'm so passionate about it. So finding something else allowed me to not, because again, when you get to that point, you don't know what you could do. And a lot of people get to that point on the suicide rate. It's like you feel like, does it really matter that I'm here? Does anyone really care?
Yeah.
If I wasn't here, would anyone care? So you deal with that. And when you look along those lines, as black people, why do we only look to the church for help when it comes to any issues, particularly mental health?
Yeah, man. But it goes back to generation.
Right.
I think that when you look at what the church was created for,
right,
it was a place where people could come in and be their authentic selves, or to also create a narrative where people can come and learn about Jesus.
Okay.
Jesus is a savior. Jesus is someone that people view as a savior that could save the world and heal the world and whatever.
Won't he do it?
Yes, he will. All the time. Now, but God and Jesus also created doctors,
facts,
and people and medicine.
Right.
And when you look at those, creations such as medicine, you can go to a doctor and get help. You can go to somebody and talk, a therapist, and be able to share your problems as well as praying, as well as doing all of those things.
And you being in, the medical field and also doing things, like, what are your thoughts when it comes to like the church and us just kind of only going, when it comes to that? You got an issue, you got to go to church?
Yeah, I mean, it's the easiest answer, but a lot of people don't understand the whole meaning behind, like praying. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, when it comes to that situation, they're only praying and looking to God when stuff is going bad.
Yes.
Because it's a genie. He's a genie.
But
he's supposed to be like...
But it's the...
Gonna come out the bottom.
Lord, I need some
saving. Think about it, it's the easiest answer for someone that doesn't have the answer. Right? If that makes sense. So, like,
yes, sir.
If Bryce came to me like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Go to God, man. Go to...
I'm not making light of the situation, but
it's real.
That's what this the easiest answer. Hey, did you pray about it? Like, I mean,
facts.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that people should turn to the Lord and Jesus and all that on an everyday situation, not just when things are going bad. And if you have a better understanding of the meaning of the word of praying, it changes your life.
And they say prayer without works is dead.
Yeah. Because you're praying and you gotta have some faith.
You gotta have some faith,
and you gotta put work behind it. Action behind it. So because if you're just praying about it and then not doing
anything about it, right? So you have to say, okay, I'm gonna give it to God, but I'm also gonna do my part as well. Meet God halfway.
The action part is key in life.
In life, man.
A lot of times we want situations to change and hope they change, but if you ain't doing your part, it's really not. And I look at it like, me being a believer and someone that's, not super spiritual in that aspect, but I definitely am a believer to the full extent. But I think that it's like a chain of command. God, of course, is always going to be at top, you know. But it's like if you work for a company, you know, if somebody's a customer, they're trying to you don't get to talk to the CEO right away sometimes. You know, you might got to go to a couple people.
Some people believe that, though.
Right. And I feel like on that aspect, not saying you should always go to God first, but there's also other people, to your point, that are here. Yes. God has given these people the ability to go to school, to go graduate, get degrees, be able to speak, talk to you. Yeah. So it can't just be my only thing with that is that definitely should go see church, but that can't be the only thing. No. Because if you experiencing issues and you go to a church and you don't have a relationship with your pastor, you just go there. He may I mean, he's gonna give you some general advice, but when you talk to somebody that this is what I do, I am someone you can talk to. I'm a psychiatrist. I'm a psychologist. I can talk. I can listen to you. Mm-hmm. When you go seek that professional help, then, I mean, God has put these people here for a reason. Yes. The same way we have a talent to do whatever it is we do, God has given them a talent to do. So we got to utilize those resources.
Man, that's it. You know, it's and two, you have to look at it, right? I'm a preacher's grandkid.
Oh, yeah. You
so I grew up. Yeah, you know, so one of the things I grew up in the church and understanding, okay, it's one thing, people are still afraid to share. Yes. Because a lot of judgment comes from the church.
Yes.
But you have to also know that the church is also a place where you can also go to God outside of the man-made place that was created. And that's where I'm saying faith without works is dead, because you have to also do your work outside of the four walls.
Absolutely. So why do you think, you know, on the church aspect, why do you think is that judgment is so strong or relevant when it comes to the church?
I say perception, man. Okay. It goes back to other people's thoughts on me, on you, on whoever, my family,
right?
Because you have to, when you go to church, you put on your best.
Oh, of course. Sunday.
So you're gonna go in there, you're gonna come.
It's like a live social media.
Right? That's all it is, right? But nobody knows. But some people know, but not everyone knows that some people are going through some things.
Right.
Yeah, I look at it on that aspect too.
Yeah,
we have a higher standard that we expect from people in a religious standpoint than we have for ourselves. If you take people that are pastors, that are ministers, bishops, when they're in a situation, they have to be perfect.
Right.
Because think about how many times people leave churches.
Yes.
Oh, I don't like that. He said it. I don't like that pastor.
Yeah, I ain't liking what they
No church is going to be perfect. If we were perfect people, there would be no reason for us to pray and do all these other things because we're perfect. You know, so you have to obtain to something. But sometimes we have such this high standard because you are in a position of power in a religious standpoint.
Right.
Pastor got to be perfect. You can't be out here being human. Right. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be God.
And the pastor suffering from something himself.
Right. He's a person too.
Yes.
So he can't be out here being perfect, but I feel like we have such high expectations that is higher than what we view ourselves. So we want them to be perfect.
But you know why though? You know what I'm saying? Because here's the thing. Like, we talk about it all the time. Whatever topic we talk about, we always say what? Do your research.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're not doing your own research and you're relying on the pastor to every Sunday to get you through whatever you're going through, you're going to have that expectation of your pastor, like, not realizing, like, you know, he's a man or female that doing a job, you know, that he's supposed to, or he or she's supposed to do.
Correct.
If you're doing your research, then you're not, you know, you don't put those expectations on, you know, people of religious power and stuff.
But I think the good thing that those pastors that are really, you know, dope, they have a way of saying, hey, I can help you on this, but maybe you should go seek, you know, some actual guidance from a doctor or someone that's a professional.
Well, let me refer you. Or I've gone through this myself.
Because they are too.
They are human as well. Come see my psychiatrist. I'll sit in with a session with you if you need me. Or I'll bring them in. Yeah. I think that those are the things that, like you said, you have to meet people where they are.
Yes.
And if you're going to lead a flock as a pastor or a bishop or whoever should, you have to meet your congregation where they are. Yeah. You're human. Share your faults.
Definitely.
No one is perfect, but mentally, everybody's going through something.
Correct.
Everybody has experienced some type of trauma. Everybody is trying to overcome an obstacle or some type of just problem.
Issue, yeah. And when it comes to people in power, do you think that celebrities and these, you know, social media influencers, do they have a responsibility to address those issues of mental health? Or,
man, if I had so the goal is the thing is this: you're an influencer.
Right.
So what are you quote unquote influencing?
You supposed to push the narrative.
You push the narrative and
Right.
push the, I guess, mindset around, hey, share.
Right.
Push the culture forward in some capacity.
Mm-hmm.
If you're quote unquote an influencer. And how are you doing that? Mental health is key, and one of the things that we need to speak on more and share about more, and just give out resources, because some of those celebrities have more resources than we do.
Right, yes.
Right. So share to the people below you to help them get up to your level, or also take something from that.
Yeah. So I'm from a different aspect. As someone that I've dealt with depression for a little bit, and more recently, my mother passed away last year. Like she was a very big part of my life, and I always thought that I would be okay. You know what I'm saying? So when my mother passed, a part of me left with her.
Yes.
I had a very, very rough time. Like when she, I didn't show it, because I was the go-to guy,
right. So
and
you didn't have the time to
mourn or do any of that stuff. So like I was literally free falling and not knowing until my wife was like, hey, I've never experienced this, you need to go talk to somebody, because I can only talk to you
do but so much,
and I never even thought of entertaining or going to speak to somebody. But
your wife was the one that kind of
she noticed that something in me wasn't right. Like everything was off. I took a chance and I went to go see a psychiatrist in my community, black by the way, and not only was I able to get that stuff, process it, but she also helped me uncover some things from my childhood and trauma, stuff like that actually shaped me who I am as of today. So I say to anyone that's dealing with any type of depression, mental situations, it's okay. Listen, I'm up here talking about it like it's as an advocate, like hey, go get help. I mean, I was at the lowest of the lowest, man. So when I hear people talk about, oh, I feel like killing myself and stuff like that, I understand that because myself was at that point at one time. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I had to go get help. You know what I'm saying? So
so let me ask you this: when it comes to that, so once you got that, do you felt like once you were going through the talking to someone, did you start to feel better gradually? Did you felt like, oh, I shouldn't have done this, or was it like, I'm glad I did?
No, so initially I didn't know what to think when I first going in. So I'm like, man,
some type of perception.
Like what is this gonna be like? You see in the movies, I'm gonna sit on this couch.
Ask me all these questions.
Miss Jackie, Miss Jacqueline, she was very cool. Female doctor, and and I went there, and she didn't just jump right into what was going on. Like she gave me some homework assignments. Like I'm like, man, this is whatever.
Yeah.
Like you know what I'm saying? Like not really taking it serious at first, but I didn't realize I was helping and healing myself. It made me a better person, a better man, a better husband, a better father. So
she found a whole new way to kind of
absolutely, which I did never saw coming. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, from someone that's dealt with depression in the past, at the time, I didn't necessarily turn to the church. My mother was like, if something was going on, I could call us. You know what I'm saying? But when I didn't have that, it's like, now what? You know what I'm saying? And I could just understand if I wasn't a little bit stronger than most people, the route I could have took. Because I started to go down that route. You know what I mean? So
alcohol, drugs, people,
everything.
All those avenues are usually things of coping mechanisms.
Correct. To get absolutely.
So it's definitely dope that you can speak from a real place to say,
you are,
hey, man. I had to do what I had to do, and I'm glad for it. I'm glad that you got that help and were able to see, but more importantly, that your wife was able to say, yo,
that's important.
Something's not right.
And it goes back to your support system.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? And that's another reason why I feel like we as blacks don't go, because our support system may not be intact in that way that you need it to be intact. Right. So had my wife not been who she was to say, hey, listen, I know it's something wrong, go get help. She could have easily took a different, like, man, I can't fix what you got going on, that I'm a leave, which it happens. People turn their back on you, and then that's when you get into that space of like, I have no other alternative. So get your support systems solid. Yeah, solid.
Herb, shout out to your wife as well, because one of the things she realized that it was out of her scope.
Yeah.
try to answer questions that we don't know the answer to. You know, she pushed you and motivated you to go get help from somebody that's a professional. You know, I can speak on my own, you know, experiences. Time it took me to be an adult, coming really within the last year of seeking help for some of the things that I've experienced. And being able to share, I've always been able to share with my family, but having that non-biased person and that person outside of my realm, I think that has allowed me to be able to has opened my eyes to some of the things that were my fault, some of the things that I can do better, and also just processing, like you said, some of the things that I've experienced in the traumas. You know, one of the things that people say that I was really concerned about was the medicine.
Right.
You know, you take that people try to say, take this medicine, get on this, and you find yourself needing that more and more. And you know, it's one of the things you lean on.
Got to have it.
You got to have it. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. So it was one of those things like, hey, I can pull off of that and just be able to share and communicate. Because that was my fear. I don't want to get hooked on no medicine, on no drug, or anything like that. But by just saying, hey, just talking to somebody was even more of a drug for me to say I can share. In a space where it was non-judgmental, it was non-biased, and you feel better when you leave out instead of just getting hooked onto some prescription drugs, man. But shout out to your wife, man, for pushing you and giving you that nudge to say, hey, I don't know, but someone else can go seek help. And that's, if you have a mate, a partner, whoever, please help your partners if you don't have the answer.
I mean, it was very beneficial. Like like I said, she was able to dial back to. I had this thing, and I didn't realize it. Like, you know, my mindset was everything I loved that was important to me in life, I lost. Didn't realize that started when I lost my grandmother back. You know, when I was 14, 15 years old. So you know, and she was my world. You know, so I was the first grandchild. So of course, you know,
are you the one?
My life was a little different. So just stemming back from that. Leading all the way up to, you know, like my mother's passing, and just so much, man. So, and then shout out to, like I said, man, you know, Weeks, you know, his wife as well. When I first started going through what I was dealing with, you know, they would, you know, gradually just, hey, you know, Herb, you doing okay?
Yes.
And most people don't have that. So I was very, very blessed to have a great support system in my family and friends that, hey, man, I don't know what that feels like.
Yes.
But I'm here if you need me, dog. And that really changed my life.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, man, you have to, if you're solid about who you are as a person and being a friend for somebody, you shouldn't only communicate with them when you need something or want something. If you post something like a crazy quote on hey, you good, man?
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull up on you, like, you straight? Like, you gotta have somebody that's gonna be like, yo, I got you, you good?
Yes.
And sometimes you may not be at a point where you can talk.
Yes.
You might just like, yo, just go here with me, man. And go do this activity with me. Like, you know, something where you might not have no interaction. You might go fishing or something. We might not talk at all, but just being able to know, like, that you have someone that's a support system that legit cares about your well-being is very, very important.
Man, beyond important too. And you just said, right, one of the things that one of my good friends asked me, he was like, you know, are you good? And I was like, yeah, I'm good. What does good look like?
So he's flipped it on you.
You flipped it on me, right?
Because he knew you wasn't good.
He knew I wasn't good. So he said, man, I can't allow you to just say you're good because you tell me that every time. So what does good look like? Because everything is not always good.
Yeah.
Share. So I challenge you guys, you know, when somebody tell you they good, ask them. What does good look like, man? Pull that back. Pull that onion back. And, you know, people that's listening to us and watching us, man, ask your family. If they say they're good, man, ask them what does good look like.
Yeah.
Because you can start to pull back and say, nah, bro, I'm really not that good.
Yeah.
I'm really not okay. Well, a lot of people wear, man, a mask, man, every day.
Every single day.
Every day.
And sometimes you just need that sounding board just to say, hey, look, I just want to let you know what's going on with me. This, and this. And you may not need someone to give you feedback. Sometimes you just want somebody to listen.
Right.
To get it out and you be straight. And along those lines, you know, we talked about celebrities having responsibility. I definitely feel like if you have any platform, you should realize what comes with that.
Yeah.
You know, so shout out to people like Taraji P. Henson.
Most definitely.
She's been very vocal about, you know, some of the things she has dealt with. And along those lines, you know, because, you know, when it comes down to it, we want to think like, you know, what, people always think like, okay, well, what can we do?
Right.
What can I do? You know, when you have a loved one pass, you always think about everything you could have done before.
Mm-hmm.
If I would have just called my grandma, if I would have talked to my mom, if I would have talked to my dad, you know, it would be different.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that may or may not be the case.
Right.
But along with the things we can do, so, you know, we're talking about Taraji P.,
Right.
one of my favorite actors. Shout out to her.
Shout
From
out.
DC, from the real HU Howard University.
Oh, man.
But she actually has launched a campaign on social media,
Okay.
and she's creating free virtual therapy service for Corona hit African Americans.
Wow.
So with this one, she says this campaign is for underserved communities experiencing life-changing events related to or triggered by COVID-19. And one of the things she says is in the African American community, we've been taught to tough it out,
Yes.
hide our suffering, but this is something that none of us have experienced, and none of us can suffer in silence.
Mm-hmm.
And along with this is under her foundation, which is the Boris Lawrence Henson, which is her father, late father, who actually suffered from some mental challenges.
Gotcha.
And with that, what they're doing is they're offering individuals with life-changing stressors and anxiety related to the coronavirus will have the cost of up to 5 individual sessions.
Wow.
Free.
That's dope.
And so with that, so if you follow Taraji P on her IG, it's Taraji P Henson.
Yes.
On IG, you can go there and find out more information.
Pushing the culture
So
forward, man.
that's definitely amazing. She's already an amazing actress, activist, active in the community. Her story is amazing. You know, left DC, went to LA, and you know, did what she had to do.
Yeah.
And to be now in a position where she don't have to do this,
No.
but to tell her truth, it is definitely dope. And also, I have another person. So there's a young lady by the name of Jasmine Pierre. She has created an app, which if you have your phone out now, Android and iPhone,
It's on both.
Usually we'll show love to Android. You know, I need to grow up.
Yeah.
We can talk about
Make
it.
a dope
He
decision.
said, grow up.
But she has an app,
Yes.
and the app is called The Safe Place.
Mm.
So what she says about this app is we still have a serious issue in the black community when it comes to mental health issues. Even though all races go through mental illness, many black people are still in denial,
Right.
shame, or lack knowledge on the subject.
Mm.
So her app is called The Safe Place. So you can download this app, free, don't cost you nothing. And some of the things you get on this app is you get black mental health statistics, which is something, you know, we see all the negative things, but just having the numbers is very key.
Mm-hmm.
It has inspirational black quotes, which is super
There we
dope.
go. That's important.
You also have self-care tips, mental health videos, and she also has a podcast on there.
Wow.
And it also has mental health articles. There's an open forum. So I actually downloaded the app a couple days ago,
Okay.
just to kind of see how it works. She has a section in there where you can do like an assessment, and it's like based on what you answer these questions, this could be something.
Mm.
Not saying that this is going to be the actual case, but
Yeah,
at least
right.
a starting
It puts
point.
you in the ballpark.
If you can have a
We got the ball
conversation,
rolling.
if you can have a conversation with somebody, being able to go on an app, you can see those things, man. So it's a super
Wow,
cool
platform.
app. Go on there, you find information. It has all her social media handles on there. So shout out to Jasmine Pierre, who
Shout
is
out,
a
man.
certified.
Thank you for that.
All
Thank you for that.
heroes don't wear capes.
Right.
Shout out to you, Jasmine. Man.
Shout out. That's good
So
stuff.
I mean, along those lines, man, what else can we do as, you know, as people, as black people in particular? What can we do?
Man, I think for us, one of the things that we have to do is encourage
Yes.
the narrative around mental health, being able to share. And we're human. We're all going to judge.
Yes.
No one is perfect,
No,
right?
that's perfect, right.
Everybody's going to have their own thoughts about certain things. But being able to encourage an environment where it is welcome.
Safe, yeah.
A safe place, right? So everybody should have a safe place where they can say, hey, my friend, come by, let's talk. Let me talk to you.
Yeah.
Well, my family, let me educate my family on what's going on with me so that they can know how to deal with me and don't pull on any of my triggers and pull on any of my issues and pull on anything there.
Right.
It goes hand in hand, education. Because if they don't know,
Yes.
if you're not creating it for them, no one will come. So you have to say, hey, let me create a space where people can come and I can educate them on what's going on mentally or in my community, what's going on with my friends, what's going on with my family, and we're going to be able to work through that together.
Facts.
So I think it's as long as we are educating each other up on that and creating the space, man, I think we'll be able to push the needle forward in mental health in our Black community.
And education is very key. It's with anything you don't understand. It's easy to label someone, to say things, but when you educate yourself on the resources to say, hey, this may not be, I don't understand this, and let me see why. But being able to have the resources to educate yourself and say, you know what, Herb, you've been a little certain way every let me holler at you for it.
Right.
But also be to accept someone in their truth.
Yes.
If someone is coming to you and saying, yo, I need to talk to somebody, I got to be open enough to say, hey, even if it's something maybe sometimes you just may just have to listen.
Yeah.
And say, hey, man, based on what you're saying, I'm not, like your wife said, this is above me. It's above me now. But I'll go with you if you need me to go. So just be open to when someone comes to you with their truth. And when you see early warning signs or something that may be something, speak on those things.
Absolutely.
I definitely feel like those are key elements to make sure we have a successful, and be okay in your truth if you are someone suffering.
Yes.
Like you said, no one is perfect.
Right.
Everyone deals with something in some way, shape, or form. So be okay. There's nothing wrong with you if you experience, some type of mental disorder. It just makes you unique in your own way.
Right.
So be okay with that.
I say get up, get out, and get your voice. Let it be heard, man.
It is.
I feel like if you're, not saying you need to be an activist on the front lines, but understand that it is a problem in our community, and not passing judgment, just doing your best to try to help others. You know what I'm saying? Especially in these times right now, and most importantly, our youth. Right now, you got to think about it. Even though the world has changed, as we know,
kids is the future, man.
Yeah, you got to think of the kids that are not able to, graduate or walk across that stage, or not be able to interact how they used to interact. So right now, this is a big thing in the community, man. So when you see those things, don't just put those labels on people. They're crazy. He always been like that. Sometimes people are acting erratic because there is something wrong. They don't know how to express themselves because they are being judged. So I tell anybody, man, just take the time, be patient, and make sure that you understand that this is a real thing. It's a real thing. Like people joke about people having the post-traumatic syndrome disorder. It's a real thing, man. It's a real thing. Like even with our youth, our veterans, our military. I didn't know it was when I say I didn't believe it.
How serious
it was. My father-in-law, was a Vietnam veteran, and when I first started, was with my wife. I went home to visit her people, and in the middle of the night, I heard him, and I was like, "What is going on?" Like, I heard him like he was in war, in battle, because of the things that they had to deal with. Most people label veterans like, hey, they just crazy. No, that is a real thing that people deal with, man. So
my grandfather was the same thing with fireworks.
Right.
He couldn't
really.
It set him off. Like if he heard fireworks, it would.
It's a real thing. And my father-in-law is a pastor, and it's a real thing, man. So one, do you research people, and to understand what's going on, and don't judge, man, because you never know when you may be in a situation where you're gonna need somebody to talk to. You don't want nobody judging you, so please don't be judging people out here.
Work as hard as you can not to, man.
Shout out to mental health.
Yes,
We love y'all, man. We definitely. And now the time has come for my absolute favorite part of the show. Tell us why you mad.
I'm gonna tell you why I'm mad. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you why I'm mad. I'm gonna tell you why.
So today is man. This one really bothers me.
Okay.
I got. Let me just take a second. So, you ever went on social media? You go on Instagram. I know you guys may not be as big, but sometimes you go on there and you're scrolling through, and you go to the top, you see videos coming through. You're like, okay, cool, okay. Oh, this person is going live. Everybody's going live now.
That's the thing.
And you go into the live. I see, that's my man. Let me go see what he got. Stop going live. You got one person. Look at don't go on live if you don't have a following. I'm tired of going to your joint. It's you and me. Like, dog, we can just have a FaceTime call, dog. Like, I'm not about to go on your joint and it's you and me in here. You talking about, dog, I wait. Hold on, let me. What's going on, y'all? We about to go live, baby. Go on. Wait for some more.
Yeah,
people.
Come on now,
That's the thing.
Wait
You
for some
know,
more
Come on, man.
We're gonna more people get in.
If you're gonna go live, and people ask us a lot, hey, when y'all gonna do live? Get you and 100 more of your friends to make sure y'all gonna get on there. We will go live.
Absolutely.
The thing is, have a schedule. Like say at 7 p.m. on Sunday, I'm going live.
We're going live.
Don't just go, I wake up today, you know what? I'm going to talk about the Last Dance documentary. You ain't told nobody. And then, you know what's even worse than that, though? You going on there and you scrolling through, I'm scrolling through your story. And you know, his is next.
Yeah.
And next, you know, it goes into his, and then you see me. Then I'm trying to get out the joint because I'm like, nah, dog, I don't want you to see me. Then, hey, what up, Weeks? My boy Weeks in here, yo. Yo, we about to wait for the rest of the people. No. I'm not in here. I'm not going to your live.
They can do a group FaceTime for that.
Dog,
Listen.
if it's less than 10 people on your joint, I'm not going to your joint. That's all I'm. Don't say you going, and don't shout me out on there if you know it's only 3 people looking at your joint.
He really mad though.
But I was gonna say, what about the upcoming DJs?
No, okay. So the DJ joints, right? Those are good because it's like you listen to Pandora.
Yeah.
But don't be trying to shout people out if it's only you and me. Like, and here's the thing with the DJ. The DJs is doing their thing. If you got a speaker and you playing Spotify, Pandora, you are not a DJ.
You in your room?
Stop, man. Like, you in there, hey, shout out to everybody in Decatur, make some noise. No one is watching
That's
you.
no different being in the car and having an aux cord.
No, nobody is watching you. You ain't got no mix. Then you in the middle of your live, and then we hear the commercials playing because you ain't want to pay the $5 to get Pandora Premium. Stop playing, man.
Oh, bad.
It bothers me when people are going live and you don't have no following.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have it, like, hey, we want a much bigger following, so when we get y'all to follow us, so tell me if you're listening right now, go online, go to IG, B2B_podcast. If you're not following us, follow us. If you are following us, do a post. Hey, follow these people. Because we the people's podcast. So you get 100 of your friends, 50 of your friends, we will go live. But we will not be going live if it's just us 3 on there.
People ask me all the time, man, when y'all gonna do a live show?
Tell them, hey, get 50 of your friends, y'all send us a message. Hey, we ready at 8 o'clock.
Punch your ticket.
Right. You give us, matter of fact, you give us the time, and we will say, give us the time. Look, I got 50 of my friends, we all ready.
So basically what you're saying is if we did a live and we open it up and only 2 people in that joint, that's gonna be the shortest show ever.
Dog, that joint will be like, thank y'all for coming out. Good night. My thing is like, when we go live, we're going to announce, hey, at 8 o'clock, we are going live. And like, if you don't have the following for it, and that's not necessarily the following, like if you're not announcing, I think people just feel like, okay, you got 6,000 followers or 5,000 or 1,000. Just because you had those following and you don't give them type of warning, how they supposed to know you live?
Because it's like 1,000 different other people was live.
Everybody is live now, and people not even. And think about it, like have some substance behind what you're doing. Don't just be going live for the sake of going live.
Look at somebody with a spit in your mouth.
Right, man. Be like, you on that? Hey, about to make these eggs, baby. We don't need to see you make breakfast in the morning, especially if you're making some basic breakfast.
Now to that point, right? So my wife's friend Janessa, shout out to Janessa. She did our food at the baby shower. She cooked. So she just did a live, right? Now she did have a decent amount of people in her live, but to your point, her live was with a purpose. She was showing people how to make, I think it was a crab cake dish.
It makes sense.
So it was a purpose and a reason behind.
We don't need to see you throwing Eggos in the toaster and making scrambled eggs, dog. Like, come on, man.
Boil a hot dog,
and she announced it because I was at the store. My wife was like, "Hey, can you bring me back some asparagus?" I'm like, "For what?" So basically, it was almost like a cooking show, but she used her platform. So shout out. So basically,
what I'm saying is, if you don't announce it, nobody's gonna know.
Don't go live.
And if you don't have enough people, then it's okay. You know, maybe start off with a Zoom call. Then you go and work from there.
Or a post. See how many likes you get.
Do a post and then get an interaction, and then try to go do a video.
Do the IGTV thing first.
Something, man. But don't be going on there and it's you and me and you and Weeks said, what up, Weeks? My boy Weeks.
Everybody ain't no books.
It's only 2 of us, man. I don't want to have no live video with you, man. So shout out to everybody that's out there that's going live. And everybody that wants B2B to go live, get you and 50 of your friends, send us a message and let us know, hey, we ready at this time. We gonna be there.
Hey, look, go in the comments, man. You see we post all the time, man. Look, let us know. Ask us. Shout us out on Facebook, Instagram. We everywhere, man. Just, hey, let us know y'all want us to go live. We're gonna bring it to the people.
Yes.
Man, we gonna get it.
Yeah, that's... we definitely got to make sure that if you're ready to go, you got to have the people, and you got to announce. So shout out to everybody that's going live, and we will go live when y'all get us at least 50 to 100 more people.
So it need to be 51 people.
Yes,
every time,
and we going live.
We're going live. You want a live show? Get 50 minimum. We'll do your live show,
and that's how we're gonna leave it. So hey, go get 50 of your friends. Y'all
tell them, man.
Catch y'all next week.